And welcome everyone to the top 5 picks of the week here on Circle Debate. We are back. All four of us, the four horsemen, are back together. The little four right here. Los cuatro hombres. Los cuatro hombres caballos.
I was gonna say, isn't cowboy caballero or something?
Caballeros.
Yes.
Caballo is the horse. Just like
right, I'm the horse.
Song.
Wait, hold on. Caballo culo? Horse's ass? Is that me?
See.
Is it culo de caballo? Is that how you say it?
See.
All right.
See.
I'm learning.
All right. This is the host of Divas. What obviously, ladies and gentlemen, here with my other hosts, my other compadres, my brothers in arms. Of course, he is the one and only who directs you of Horse's Ass. Of what you were saying, caballeros. Jesus Christ. That's the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, the director, CK1 and Chris Kennedy. And of course, I have the man who gives you 6 to 9 reasons. He's going to give you the 6 to 9 answers because he has a 6 to 9 slot with him right there, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Mr. MGC, Matt Callis, Mr. 69. And of course, I have the man who lives 1,970,000 miles from Winnipeg, Minnesota, Canada. But he's holding, of course, a vintage ECW World Championship because he is the undefeated, the undisputed, the unmatched, the unrivaled, the uncensored Money Mike. By God, of podcasting, the most violent podcaster, Lopez, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Hey,
there you go. The most violent, holding the legitimate, the true ECW championship.
And ladies and gentlemen, today, speaking of that, we're always speaking about ECW because right behind me, today's top 5 is none other than top 5 ECW matches. That is right, ECW, because we love and we cherish ECW, especially the director. And so this is his cup of tea on these top 5s. So we're choosing our top 5 best ECW matches from the past to even from the WWE ones, because there was a couple good ones there too.
Oh, bro, I am not doing that.
What do you think the man is the one?
Bro, there is not a single match from the bastard main roster that you could pick that you couldn't just pick a better match from original ECW.
We will have to wait and see until the picks.
You could be like, oh, the Bobby Lashley. I'm like, knock. I'll go. No.
Oh, we're talking about December to December. No.
Yeah. I'm not talking about like
no.
Last Stand or any
I
of the
would
TNA offshoot. Yeah.
That would piss you off.
I'm not a big snob about my wrestling, but I am a big snob about my strictly pure ECW.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to the wheel. Let's see who goes first. I'm giving the picks.
I missed the wheel. Let's go.
I want to cheer. Go, wheel. Go wheel. Go.
Oh shit.
We open with the best one.
We are opening with the best one, and that is the director.
God damn. I am ready for this. All right. So, like I said, pure ECW before the big WWE takeover. This is a list of my 5 and an honorable mention because I had to make it 6. ECW matches that I would show someone who's never seen original ECW before. I definitely mixed up all of the styles because ECW wasn't just garbage wrestling. There was technical wrestling, there was flying, there were tag matches, and there was fire, and there was ladders, and there was blood. So this is a bit of everything. My number 5 match is not for the squeamish at all, and that is Sabu versus Terry Funk, Born to be Wired, August 9th, 1997. This was a barbed wire death match. Spoilers all over this podcast because I'm talking about finishes, I'm talking about spots, I'm talking about endings. It's like 24 years old, so like get with the times. This was it was hard to watch for most people. A lot of ridicule about what, I think at the time Terry Funk was like 99 years old. Sabu has scars all over his body to this day still from matches like this. At the end of the match, I don't even remember technically who won. I think they were tied together with barbed wire, and I do remember them having to use wire cutters to get them out from each other. It's a very hard match to watch, but it's the epitome of ECW, and it's my number 5. Number 4, I wanted to put a tag team match on here, and none other than the Dudley Boys versus Spike Dudley and Balls Mahoney at Heatwave 1999. I do believe this was their official last tag team match. Lot of story going into this match, because if you grew up watching the Dudley Boys and the Spike Dudley angle, he was the outcast, the black sheep, the little brother who could just never pull his own weight, and he got picked on by the Dudley Boys every chance they got. This match had a power bomb from both Dudley, Devon, and Bubba onto Spike through a fiery table. I'm pretty sure they gorilla pressed him into the audience, threw him off a balcony. Spike Dudley didn't give a fuck. He was the original Darby Allin, as far as if you want to go back and look at someone who probably inspired Darby's crazy danger spots, Spike was doing them first, and he was doing them, I don't want to say like better, but he was doing them first, and they were wild. Dudley's ended up losing this match, and then they still threatened to take the titles to WWF at the time. This was their leaving match, and they got the most heat I've ever seen in ECW, because those fans are loyal and they are vicious. If there's any rumors that you're leaving the company, you've left their hearts immediately. Number 3, very technical match, is Lance Storm versus Rob Van Dam. Guilty as Charged, 1999. This wasn't a hardcore match. This was a technical display of 2 of the best wrestlers, pure wrestlers, not only in the company, but in the business at the time. Lance Storm coming from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the whole fucking show, Rob Van Dam. They hit all of their spots. Lance Storm hit that awesome roll through single Boston leg. Van Dam hit the 5-star. He hit the Rolling Thunder. He hit the split leg moonsault. He hit the Van Daminator with Bill Alfonso holding the chair. But the match wasn't finished by a finisher. It was catch as catch can chain wrestling sequence from like a surprise roll up to a pinning combination to a back tape to a crucifix, ending with a German suplex out of nowhere with a pinning bridge. It may have come off anticlimactic, but it was technical wrestling at its finest. Guilty as Charged, 1999. Number 2. What was my number 2? I just had it. I have to go back and check my list here because I switched something around. Oh, from Guilty as Charged, 1999. Just Incredible versus Tommy Dreamer.
Oh,
this
yes.
was the best hardcore match. This represented everything ECW was. 2 guys who genuinely hated each other, and the fans absolutely hated Just Incredible and adored Tommy Dreamer. He was the face of ECW, the greatest babyface the company had ever seen. Never had a heel turn, never did anyone dirty. Always had people stabbing him in the back, from Raven to like Terry Funk. Every one of his friends left him abandoned.
Chris,
This man,
that's very similar to Okada. Maybe that's what inspired the character nowadays.
Tommy Dreamer also, for the 8 to 9 years he was there, until he did win it eventually, never won the ECW heavyweight title. He refused to win it. I mean, okay, kayfabe, he never won it. That's his storyline, but he also never really wanted it because he didn't want to break that underdog story. But this match was awesome. This had kendo sticks, chairs, ladders, Francine taking it. That's incredible. Jumping, spinning, tombstone onto a chair. My favorite diamond cutter of all time was the Dream Cutter. While Justin was on them 2 ladders, cross-leg, 2 ladders, standing between them. Tommy goes to the top of the ladder, hits him with the Dream Cutter. That was on highlights forever. For the duration of ECW highlight packages, it was Tommy Dreamer with the Dream Cutter. One of my favorite spots of all time. Honored that I got to talk to Just Incredible, PJ Polacco, about that particular spot. That was a dream come true, having to talk about this particular match. the best hardcore match of all time.
And by
It's
the
not-
way, that was Incredible's first run as ECW champion, right?
No, definitely not.
Was it a second one or?
I would no. He had no titles at that time.
Yeah,
He hadn't even won the tag titles with like Lance Storm. That maybe no, I don't think, because I think Rob Van Dam and Sabu still had the tag titles at the time. If not, he definitely hadn't become heavyweight champion yet because of the match I'm going to talk about at number 1 and my honorable mention.
Okay.
So my number 1 favorite ECW match of all time. Guess what pay-per-view it was?
December to Dismember?
Guilty of Guilty as Charged, 1999. So my last 3 matches came in sequence at Guilty as Charged, closing the show. So my number 3, 2, and 1 were the 2 co-mains and the main event. Taz versus Shane Douglas for the ECW heavyweight title. Features my favorite promo. I've talked about it before, which was the unstoppable object versus the immovable force. Taz, bitch, you're mine. That's the best promo in pro wrestling of all time. The match was technical, very little hardcore in it. They did go into the audience. Taz hit all of his Tazplexes, the head and arm Tazplex, head and leg Tazplex, suplex Tazplex, exploder Tazplex, into the audience, over the railing, down the stairs, back into the ring. But then the lights went out. I don't know if Paul Heyman forgot to pay the bill at the ECW arena, but as soon as the lights came back on, we had the return of Sabu, the homicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, coming in with the run-in, taking them both out because he was sort of friends with Taz and he was kind of sort of friends with Sabu, and they both screwed him out of that title match because he was out with a broken jaw that Taz gave him with a lariat from hell. Literally took his jaw right off. They found it in the front row. I think he hit put them both on the table and hit the Arabian leg drop. Just wild match. He got taken out. I think he just ran back out after that. He took them both out. He took off. Taz got the Taz mission. What's it originally called? Katahari?
Oh shit! I don't see. I'm having a brain fart. I can't believe it.
I know it. It's the
Call it the Taz mission, whatever.
Kata Hajime. Bam.
Okay,
That's right. I was half right. I was getting there. Taz wins his first ECW heavyweight title, taking out the man who created the title, the man who took the NWA heavyweight title, threw it down, and became ECW champion, the franchise triple threat, Shane Douglas. Honorable mention. The night Taz, the human suplex machine, lost the ECW heavyweight title. Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. That was the match. We had an import, an American returning from a very long stint in Japan by the name of Mike Awesome. With Judge Jeff Jones in the audience with him, he had ran ringside, demanding a title shot because he had just beaten Masato Tanaka in a non-title match. And Masato Tanaka got that title match. That was supposed to be Mike Awesome's. And Paul Heyman made it a 3-way dance. And what that means, it's not a triple threat. A triple threat is first pinfall wins. 3-way dance is elimination style. So you have to beat 2 people to get the title. Awesome bomb from the top, roaring elbow from Masato Tanaka. They double pin Taz, and he is out of here. On his way to WWE, the locker room empties, and the crowd is silent. No one can believe Taz lost the title. I could not believe it. I thought he was going to go undefeated until he was retired. I thought he was going to make Goldberg's record look like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Taz stayed at the gorilla position watching the rest of that match. And Mike Awesome this guy, I'm not talking about the 70s guy. I'm not talking about how he screwed over Vince. I'm talking about the ECW Mike Awesome was power bombing dudes out of the ring onto cement, through tables, off the top rope, hitting 5-star frog splashes, destroys Masato Tanaka, wins the ECW heavyweight title, and it is a very huge moment because no one ever thought Taz was going to lose that belt. And it took 2 people to do it. That's my list.
Man.
Go watch all of those matches. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
So that was only one honorable?
Only one honorable, man. I had to put it on there. I could do a second one. I could say anything with Tajiri and Super Crazy. Go watch any of those matches.
Let me ask you, Chris, just out of curiosity, for you as a hardcore, no pun intended, ECW fan, when it was announced that WWE was going to bring it back and One Night Stand, or did any part of you think optimistically of maybe they'll do a good job with it?
I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know anything about what. I mean, there was no internet really back then. The dirt sheets were literally sheets. It was PWI was an actual paper media, you know, and I was wrestling at the time, so I only heard things, you know, from locker rooms, and I was still only like 15 or 16, so it was very hard to pick. I had to oh my god, this is gonna sound so old. Oh my god. Okay, it's 1999. You guys know what movie phone is?
Yes.
It's a phone number you can call, and then it'll tell you the times of movies playing near you.
Yes.
There was a pro wrestling, essentially the Bleacher Report style phone number I used to call. You would call it, and you would hear like 10 seconds, a minute, a whole like 4 minutes, 10 seconds at a time of just news in the pro wrestling. So it'd be like, this happened on a free phone number. I would just call it. Sorry, I thought we were having an earthquake. My walls are shaking. We would all feel it too because we're all in the LA basin.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I would get stuff like that, but I was always optimistic. I didn't know if it was going to be like a main roster thing. Like, I thought it was going to stay in ECW Arena. I thought it was just going to stay there, maybe. Or, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of knowing that Vince butchered stuff. You know, like that really also hadn't accumulated very, very much. Like, oh no, Vince got a hold of it. We now know it's doomed. This is before that culture, because we were during the Attitude Era, or coming out of the Attitude Era, kind of in that gray area between Attitude and Ruthless Aggression. So I was definitely optimistic. They were still doing events at the Hammerstone Ballroom, which is one of the best venues at the time. WWE also had done, I think the very first Raw was there. They had done some Shotgun Saturday Nights that were there. So I thought they were going to keep the grungy vibe and not just change the ropes and polish it up, which is essentially what they did. I do love that my favorite superstars got to be much bigger superstars. I think Rob Van Dam was handled pretty decently. I love that Tajiri took off. I love that Spike Dudley had a run. Dudley Boys, my favorite tag team of all time, definitely obviously went on to do great things. They brought the hardcore style over. Those TLC matches originated in ECW. So a lot of great things carried over and a lot of great things did not carry over. But when you're going to talk to me about ECW, we all know where I'm going.
That is right. That is right. We got to do one day of giving the director the floor of the history of ECW.
Yes.
We have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I could just watch that documentary that I forgot what it's called. Yeah. There's that one, and there's another one that came out like during ECW before they fell. So yeah, I mean, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. I was getting tapes, VHS tapes. What I was doing was somehow my cable would get East Coast stuff, and so I would tape them, watch them after Raw. But then it got turned over. They did national syndicated broadcasting to TNN, which was the Nashville network, which was basically just like country music, rodeos, bullfighting, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna watch ECW like live. Oh my god, I always have my tape ready to record episodes and pay-per-views. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it too. I heard it from right next to.
Yeah, it's like they're doing construction on my roof at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I hear that.
That's weird. And then TNN eventually became Spike TV, which ECW was basically the only thing people tuned into Spike TV for until I think like eventually TNA went over there, or Impact at one point might have gotten on Spike TV.
TNA.
Yeah, so.
Oh, and UFC too. UFC as well.
Yeah, that is a much later. That was way later. We're talking decades later.
Mm-hmm.
But no, basically that's how I grew up watching it. It was a very hard to get hold of, taboo, pirated thing, and I love every second of it, and I always will.
Absolutely. And give a shout out to Dom and Bruce from Top Rope Wrestling Talk. They did recently history of ECW on their YouTube.
I'm gonna go see what that noise is. You keep talking.
Right. So yes, now let's go back to the wheel to see who is next of giving their picks. Let's go. Whoa. And this is brought to you by Vista Print, where you can print all your shirts and all your merchandise. And here we go. Ah, why is that me? Damn it.
It's time to walk the plank, Ivan.
I know, right?
Arr.
Arr. Right here. All right, let's go. Let's go. So here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo. Chris is gonna kill me because I don't remember the dates. Well, I actually kind of remember the dates.
If that noise happens again, I will call my management because they want me to tell people when people are on our roof. So little inside my life. Cool. Go for it.
The H1, the true story of Chris Kennedy.
And I also got to leave in 6 minutes, so I'll do the best I can.
Okay. But yes, my number 5 will have to be Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio, best out of 3 falls.
Very nice.
I did enjoy. I do remember that match for the first time when they met, when we first saw the exposure of them, and then the 2 best out of 3 falls. That match was fantastic. I think it kind of opened the eyes to the American audience of what Lucha Libre was all about. And these 2 were the pioneers to expose that here in the States, especially in the East Coast during that tenure. So I got to give kudos to, of course, Psychosis, who doesn't really get much credit. I mean, the guy is a legend, man. The guy is underrated as fuck. And, we know Ray's credentials already. He's already a legend as we speak now. But these 2 individuals, they were the true pioneers of introducing that to the States. So I give them kudos for putting a fantastic match with they had 2 best out of 3 falls, which was great.
Yeah.
Recommendable to see.
And a lot of people may not know that almost everybody in the WCW Cruiserweight division circa 1998 had just come through ECW. Like they were passing through, like Ray, Psychosis, Juventud, Chris Jericho. They all came through those doors on the way to WCW.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And which is my number 4. My number 4, I did enjoy this because the storytelling is and that is Cactus Jack versus Mikey Ripwreck. I enjoyed that story because Mikey was an underdog and Cactus always the underdog, and how Cactus, when he went heel on his ass and just beat the living shit out of him, and he wouldn't stay down. Mikey will still get up and fight. That match was storytelling, and I fucking enjoyed it because they beat the living shit out of each other. But we know the outcome at the end of it. But I like that, like the heelish. Why don't you stay down, motherfucker? Like shit like that. I enjoyed it from Mikey Ripwreck and Cactus Jack. Man, that match, great storytelling. So I will recommend to see that. Number 3. My number 3 will be Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh,
that match. Now that match itself, wow. They were all over the arena, and especially the one when Taz got, Bam in a chokehold, and they went right through the, through the stage.
Through the fucking, because the ramp used to go right to the stage.
Yes.
Yeah, like a ramp and went right to the stage, and he went through it with him on his back because he had him in the Taz mission.
Yes.
Love it. Fantastic.
That match was fucking incredible. And then nobody expected Taz to lose. But it happened. Bam Bam dragged him out, pinned him 1, 2, 3. I was like, shit. I didn't expect that. I seriously, I didn't expect Taz to lose the belt at that time.
The triple threat days.
Mm-hmm. So that's, that's my number 3. My number 2, of course, I gotta give another 2 athletes that introduced a lot of technician and technicalities. And that is Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. So those 2 introduced a lot to it as well before even going to WCW. But man, I can say that they were the 2 founders of what was, I'm not saying to the promotion that are now, but I'm saying just the way how their styles mixed and how they meshed, and the crowd was very quiet, like that New Japan type of quietness. You had that match with this one. And that's how you saw like Ring of Honor being born, PWG being born because of these 2 other great pioneers of their styles of wrestling that they brought in the ring. And got people's attention, and especially Dean, man, another Dean, the man of 1,000 homes. Love that guy. And then Eddie, man, we love you, man. But yeah, another great instant classic match. And of course, my numero uno. I love this match. I know it's overrated, but I don't give a shit. And that is Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam. And that's like the first one.
The first one. I can barely stand, but I can barely stand.
Hardcore Heaven 99. That's my favorite one. Because that one, I mean, out of all the ones they have, but I think the first one's the best. The first ever encounter. That match. Mwah. Because there's nothing, you can't really say much of it. Everybody says overrated. I don't give a fuck. For me, it's not. It's not overrated. It's an awesome match. I fucking loved it. And oh my God.
One of the greatest lines in a promo was Jerry Lynn saying something like, after that attack, he had his ribs taped up.
Yes,
like,
he did.
And he goes, I have 2 broken ribs and I can barely stand, but I can barely stand not having that TV title around my waist. And he went against doctor's orders. They were trying to keep him from going out during the match. RVD obviously handled him. And then he said something like off camera that Joey Styles picked up on. He's like, I think my stitch popped out. And then Joey says, did he just say his stitches popped out? And then he kept wrestling.
Yes.
Brutal. So brutal. Whether or not that really happened, probably not. But storyline purposes, fantastic.
Absolutely. Man, though that's no honorables. That's all I had. This one was hard for me. So
yeah.
This is like, but I remember these matches at least. That I can remember watching them when I was in the black box, you know, with the little yes. I was watching those. I can remember those matches. So I loved them, man. But obviously your list is fire.
Nah, man. Hey, I can make a top 500 list. You know, so
hell yeah. You can, brother.
Let's see who's next.
All right.
Go.
It's time. It's Lopez time.
Listen, don't be fooled. Yes, I got the ECW title and all, but man, I wish I would have seen it as it was going on.
That original ECW title, the original one, was so nice.
Oh, this one?
No. the one that had the planet on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, ECW has such a great fan base that, you know, you could tell the loyalty. You see it, and like, for example, with Chris over here, you know the passion that these guys had for this brand. And again, you know, I wish I would have seen it in its prime, but I didn't have cable, so you know, I missed out on a lot of stuff. But thanks to YouTube, I can check some of these out, and definitely I'll check out some of.
I would love to come over and just watch a full pay-per-view, like any of them. I can pick so many. I just watch it start to finish with you guys.
You know, I actually have the DVD of One Night Stand, but it came with, I think it's called Barely Legal. I've never put it in.
Barely Legal. What was that? 2000 or 99?
The very first one, the first pay-per-view that they made.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's the one where Kimono Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm gonna make sure of that.
So whenever you guys are down,
I'm down. I'm all for it.
So having said that, having revealed that I have not seen a lot of ECW, I was able to gather up a list of some of the matches that stand out to me. So top 5 ECW matches from me. Number 5, Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka, One Night Stand. I, you know, as again, someone that did not grow up with it, and seeing something like that so different from what I was watching in WWE, it was just you could see the difference clearly right there and then. And I remember Rob Van Dam saying that they, you know, the ECW originals, they wanted to make something that was legitimately, ECW, and they did as close as they could within the WWE banner for that night. And this was one of those standout matches to me. It was hard hitting, and it was what I imagined it being back in the day. Number 4, Sandman versus Cactus Jack, Falls Count Anywhere. I have seen this and I have checked this out.
Is that the one where Sandman puts the ladder? Or no, Terry. We see Cactus Jack or Terry Funk?
Cactus Jack.
Okay, I was thinking the Terry Funk one. Go ahead.
So it kind of goes to show, and I see it, and I see kind of an extra layer of Cactus Jack that was not necessarily seen in WWF. They kind of tried to bring that with the whole Triple H storyline, Royal Rumble 2000, but this was more. This was another layer to that, and I finally got to see Cactus Jack in his actual Cactus Jack persona. I did feel like a difference there. Number 3 is, you know what? I'm probably gonna get some hate on this. I am picking a December to Dismember match.
Is it that Jordan got Orlando Jordan versus CM Punk or something?
No, unfortunately,
whatever the fuck.
I'm picking the Hardy Boys versus Eminem. I believe that started off the pay-per-view, and man, and I guess I pick it mostly because of what happened to poor Johnny Nitro. Was it Johnny Nitro?
Right? No, that was
Mercury.
Joey Mercury.
Yeah, Joey Mercury. Man, that I guess I just picked it for that because goodness gracious, that injury was severe, and to this day I still remember it, and I guess it's one of those moments that I remember. Let's see, number two, and this is truly a number 2 for me. Dudley's versus Tommy Dreamer and Sandman, the main event for One Night Stand, 2005. As a not lifelong, but ever since I first heard Metallica, I've been all about that life, and hearing the entire audience singing along to Enter Sandman, that was like, man, I would have wanted to be in Hammerstone Ballroom. So, Chris, you were gonna?
No, I was saying Sandman, when he would pour the beer into anybody's mouth, including kids. I don't tell Mr. Jim Fullington, but he would do it to kids. I've seen it. I was like, that guy is definitely like 16. Mm-hmm. Or he would do it, and I'm gonna just say this out loud because we're an adult podcast, onto some titties, and then he would boner boat himself with the beer. Love that shit, dude.
Great stuff.
Sandman was the man.
Yeah. Absolutely. That entrance was gold, man.
And he would use the whole song, like it would get through the guitar solo.
Yes.
It would be like a 6-minute walkout, and fans ate it up every time.
It's a shame that they weren't able to get the rights for it for WWE or whatever.
They probably could. I don't think they wanted to.
Maybe.
And then obviously, if you remember, Sandman went to WCW and became Hack. So
there you go.
I don't know if people remember that, but don't. If you remember that, erase that. Men in Black, erase that shit from your memory.
and shout out to Sandman, who gave us a shout out. Our first one, I believe, at Circle Debate here. So, so shout out to him. Great guy.
Episode 10. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And of course, number 1 for me, RVD versus John Cena, One Night Stand, 2006. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Chris has a lot to say about that. But
hey, man, I'll tell you what. If that made you fall in love with the brand and the way that I did, cool.
Well, I say it's very topical, Mike, since we actually witnessed. I think it was
that was the Cena Winsby riot. Fuck you, Cena chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I like it because of that.
Mike, Chris, something that happened recently kind of mirrors what happened there. The throwing back of Cena's towel and the throwing back of Cody's belt.
Mm-hmm.
Time doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes.
God damn it. Tell me.
I like that.
Did you make that? There's no way. I love you. There's no way you made that up. Did you make that up?
That's lyrics, man. Lyrics.
What is it, like Tupac?
No, it's something I learned from they say it a lot. They say it a lot about history because history doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes.
Yeah. I get that because it mirrors itself, but it's not identical.
Yeah, because you know the way the audience just rejected John Cena and threw his towel back at him.
Yeah,
just
I love
like
that.
when they threw Cody's belt right back at him. We're seeing time rhymes.
I get it. That's awesome. It definitely, yeah. Fucking Cody, man.
I gotta go get my guitar. I gotta write a song about that.
Right.
But yes, I mean, is it the most ECW match? Definitely not. And even I could see that. However, at the time, I had been used to seeing the faces getting cheered and all that stuff, and to see the top guy from WWE booed and people saying the F word to him, to me at watching it as it was going on was just like,
yeah, that's how I felt about when I finally broke through that you could cheer the bad guy in pro wrestling. That very same mind-blowing experience happened with The Rock, where I'm like, wait, I like The Rock. They're booing him. You can like the bad guys? I was completely dumbfounded by that concept. It never occurred to me for the first 12 years of my pro wrestling life. And that's like literally from 0 to 12. So I feel you on that. So I see how important that can be, actually seeing that line and seeing, obviously how loyal ECW fans were, especially John Cena. They knew John Cena was in enemy territory. That's why they booked it.
Yeah. It was great. To this day, every year or so, I tune in, I watch that match. That's why I bought the DVD, and I don't need Peacock to watch that match.
No, because they already banned it anyways. They banned that shit anyways.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's my list. No honorable mentions, but I definitely got to check out some of these matches you guys are mentioning, and yeah, let's see it.
Well, I'm going to come over. We're going to watch Guilty as Charged 99. That has 3 out of my 5 list, and it's top to bottom, just pure awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. That's for sure. Now, this is why he's Mr. Callous for a reason. He rhymes. That's why he shines. So now he is the last one to give his top 5. Take it away.
Last man standing. That movie with Bruce Willis and the 245s.
Yes.
So
yeah, he's like a mobster.
Yeah, he's a mobster. It's like I switched to beer because I don't want to get sloppy. And or Christopher Walken, you wouldn't shoot a man in the back, would you? All right. So I have a very different ECW experience to both Mike and Chris. How I found out about ECW from around I was watching WWE on a regular basis. WWF, it was still at the time, during the Invasion angle. And that's actually during the Invasion angle is where I first heard about ECW. And the more they talked about it, my only way, of course, I couldn't afford DVDs or videotapes at the time. Suncoast was still around. My way of watching ECW.
That's where I bought I definitely bought some ECW and UFCs at Suncoast.
At Suncoast, and they had a really great section. The DVDs were there was somewhere between $16 to $45 a DVD around.
Yeah, and you had to look for them. They were in the back on the bottom row. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you went through them oh, all right, okay, here's ECW, here's WCW, here's and that. So my way of finding it was through LimeWire and Kazaa.
That's how I watched Jackass.
Mm-hmm. And it was funny because some of the matches were late. I saw that same Just Incredible Tommy Dreamer match. Tommy Dreamer was giving a speech with a band-aid on his forehead right after that match, or was
probably
that something different? And then Big Dick Dudley choke slammed somebody. I don't know, something happened.
It's probably. I don't think that was after that particular match, but Big Dick Dudley did do a lot of choke slamming.
Yeah, off the balcony, and
that would have been Spike Dudley or New Jack.
And it's so funny.
If it was a balcony spot, those are the only 2 guys that ever took it.
Some wrestling matches are labeled the weirdest way on Kazaa. One match was labeled Sting versus, this is an ECW, Sting versus Cactus Jack, and then in large capitalized letters, frozen blocks of piss. I'm like, what does that have to do? And it was Sting versus Cactus Jack in WCW. I'm like, okay, you know, very bad quality. You could hear this computer sound with it. Yeah, all that stuff. But you know, for my number 5, I'm gonna give you Raven versus Terry Funk. You know, there's a interesting combination right there. Very, you know, you've got, I think Raven, he's really most comfortable as a heel, I'd say, in most circumstances. He just has, it's like he wears his own shoes as it. He knows how to antagonize people even when he has like no reason to. He could just he could fabricate reasons for him to hate somebody. You know, if there's anybody I wouldn't mind as a booker in the future, it would be Raven. Ivan, you mentioned Mikey Whipwreck, and here's somebody that you know, I know people do pay attention to his time in ECW, but somebody they don't often, when you think about ECW, you don't think about him right away. And I guess around the time he was in ECW, he was also doing a little bit of New Japan, either before or after, or concurrently at the same time. So my number 4 is Sandman versus Steve Austin versus Mikey Whipwreck. And I'm guessing.
Shit.
Yes. God, that was like 97.
Was Steve Austin? Steve Austin went to New Japan around this time period, like in that, was it like 96 or something like that? He was like, he had a little
95, bit. I was so close.
Yeah, his hair was so short. It wasn't shaved, and he didn't have a beard, but he had very short blonde hair. And it's a really like weird mid-era. It's not the Ringmaster. It's not Stunning Steve.
It was short, kind of. He kind of looked like Hardcore Holly a bit, I guess.
He was giving a lot of he had very aggressive, edgy promos, but he wasn't Steve Austin. You know?
But he was, though. The weird thing is there was a promo. There was a promo where he was sitting at a desk, I remember, and he had a beer, and he was saying something like, "I didn't come down from the. I'm not going up north or down south. I'm sticking right here." Where, you know, and it was very Austin promo. It was very 316.
Yeah,
so
he did the Hulk Hogan one, the imitation Hogan, and then he did another one, which is the way you talk about.
Yeah, the imitation Hogan.
Yeah. He did another one, like it was like a TV host show, because he was like,
that one.
That one, and
he was holding the beer, and he was talking about like, "I don't want to go up north where the grass is greener. I want to stay right here." And it was. I mean, because he went to WCW after that, I think, right?
No, that's when he went to.
He went from Ringmaster to WCW or to ECW, and then to
WCW, ECW, then WWE.
But as the Ringmaster, as $1 Million Champ, whatever the fuck it was, Ringmaster.
That was WWF. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I'll let you guys kind of in on something. You know, my girlfriend gets pissed at me whenever I say Stone Hogan. So that's basically what he was in in ECW. Stone Hogan.
Yeah.
So my number 3, this is a match I've probably watched the beginning of a lot. And I think it's the first time I've seen one of those like chain wrestling openings where it's like kind of like Kung Fu, and they just look at each other and the audience applauds. You guys know about that? Like when you get 2 really technically sound wrestlers that just kind of do like the Kung Fu pose, like right after, it's like, dang, we're good, you know, and the audience.
The standoff. So you like RVD and Lance Storm did that in my match at the end of the sequence, or like, and they face off. Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned RVD, because my number 3, the one I'm referencing, is RVD versus Taz.
RVD already had the heavyweight title, and that was Taz's last loss.
And they were.
I'm asking, is that the one you're talking about?
I think that might be it. And it's like
RVD did win the heavyweight title, and he did beat Taz clean, and that was officially Taz's last match.
They did the whole chain wrestling sequence at the beginning. They're like, everybody's like, oh. Like, you know, they did one counter after sequence, after roll, after hold, after counter.
And I feel like 3 days later, that's when Taz showed up at the Rumble.
So that, and the thing is, I don't remember watching the whole match all the way through. I would just watch the opening of this match, because I downloaded it and I just watched the opening on repeat. you know.
We'll download the rest of it.
let me go back to when LimeWire.
Go get your Windows 95. Pop it in.
I wish I had it on one of my burn discs. I could come over to your house and I'll bring, you know, it'll be just like the old days. I'll bring the Xbox. So number 2, I think I have one of the same ones that you picked, Chris. Sabu versus Terry Funk with the barbed wire.
Yep.
That one, you know, I really want to see if somebody's willing to make the shirt for me, kind of like Terry Funk with a crown of barbed wire. It's very Christ-like imagery, you know. It would be, it would be like very like touching, and it'll be like, my God, that's
very sensitive. But yeah, I think someone probably already has done a shirt like that, so I'm not surprised that shirt's around.
I'd kind of want it because it'd be very. It's just such a powerful imagery. It's like the Pieta, you know, that's another Christ-like thing. The Pieta, because there's like a, you know, I'm relating this to like art and imagery. Like there's a Korean movie called Pieta, and it's like these two actors. The actress, she's got like, you know, the Virgin Mary hood, and the guy's like, you know, lying back, you know, like the dying Christ. So like, I'm wondering if it would be like Sabu and Terry Funk kind of in the Pieta pose or something like that. You know.
Oh yeah.
You could do that kind of. That would be like a nice paint. You know, Chris, I think a really good, interesting medium for ECW matches to exist would be paintings. I think like having really high end paintings of these matches, just the whole drama of them.
Like an oil painting of like Raven up on the cross, like when he's chained to the fence.
Or just like
when Tommy Dreamer hits him with a chair. Oh my
God.
Oh my God.
So chair shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
And maybe the gallery display night, the opening night, well, the exhibit could be at 2300 in Philadelphia. So that would be just an amazing night, you know, just auction off each paintings, and it could go towards a certain, like, taking care of the wrestlers or something like that.
Yeah. Somebody has
all these ideas, and
as a charity. I forget who it was. I think Francine does. Francine's like doing something charitable now, I think.
Yeah.
These ideas, it's kind of like, you know, and it came from the weirdest source, you know. What inspired this, Mike, is something else that kind of happened in the 90s. It's kind of fucked up, but at the same time, it's kind of shows you how powerful paintings could be to inspire movements. You know, ECW fans are probably the most passionate wrestling fans on the face of the planet Earth, and, you know, almost to a religious extent. And one of the things that were done that was done with a painting to inspire, like, a very, you know, it was kind of a negative thing. Slobodan Milosevic painted the Battle of Belgrade when the Christians lost to the Turks. And it was almost like, you know, the Passion of the Christ painting. So imagine all of these ECW matches painted just so dramatically, you could see the anguish in the faces of all the wrestlers, and the blood and the pain and the fire and the barbed wire and, you know, everything, you know, just mwah.
Man,
so, and I'll give you my number 1, RVD versus Sabu.
Or the TV title? Or
I think
a solo skills match?
I'll probably go with I'll probably go with the second one, the one with the most Van Daminators. I'm guessing.
Trying to think. There was one where Bill Alfonso, Mr. Right Down the Money, baby, Mr. 50-50, didn't want to help either one of them, and then he eventually ended up helping like RVD. So maybe that one. There's a couple of them that are really good. They're all really good, but yeah. Whichever one you're talking about, I seen it.
Yeah, whichever one has more Van Daminators, because I got so much love for the Van Daminator. That's like, I think, guys, I might legitimately cry once RVD officially retires, just because over the fact that
Sabu retired. So I mean,
yeah, Sabu retired. I mean, it was about its time, but RVD, you know, I mean, it will come up sooner or later, but I'm just hoping, you know, at least not 5 more years, please, RVD, please. You know,
in the ring, not just on TV.
Yeah, in the ring. And, you know, I want to see some, because I'll never get to see a Van Daminator again, or I don't know what wrestler would want to start using Van Daminators, but it'll never be the same way Rob Van Dam.
Yeah,
does it.
no one has ever respectfully stolen a Rob Van Dam move. Obviously, Johnny Nitro does the Starship Pain, which is at least it's a variation of the split leg moonsault. So I give him credit for putting that.
Does one too.
Who does?
Andrade.
Yeah,
Kind of. Yeah. Kind of.
he's got like it's like springboard split leg.
Yeah.
So
Like no one's doing Rolling Thunder. No one's doing the spinning leg drop. No one's doing the somersault leg drop. No one's doing
frog
the
splash. The frog
Nobody's
splash.
doing the Van Terminator.
The frog splash exists in many. The frog splash exists in many different forms. Like Eddie Guerrero has his frog splash, and
Right.
you know,
I mean,
Jericho did.
the moves that RVD originated.
Yeah. You know, Tanahashi has his frog. I think that's like a match that could still happen. You know, this is another match I'm praying for is Rob Van Dam versus Tanahashi. So we could have, you know, another battle of the frog splashes. Because we had that with Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam, but we never got to, you know, this is another thing I'm hoping for. So, but I'll give you, without further ado, I'll give you guys my one honorable mention. It's one, but it's got a lot of wrestlers in it. And this is Too Cold Scorpio versus Shane Douglas versus Chris Jericho versus Pitbull number 2 for the ECW TV title.
Pitbull number 2 was not John Cronus, Marshall, something Marshall.
Yeah, it began with an M. I looked it up.
Mike Wolf. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, because Pitbull and Wolf. John Cronus was one. Pitbull number 2
Anthony
was Anthony
Duarte. Yeah.
Fuck, I was way off. They never called him by his name. It was Pitbull 1 and number 2, but number 1 was John Cronus. There was Gary Wolf.
Gary Wolf.
Gary Wolf was a Pitbull. Yeah. Okay. Fucking. There was 3 Pitbulls and one of them. Yeah. High five myself on that one.
Virtual high five.
It's like I'm not wrong about which Pitbull that was, but yeah, he was the one with the broken neck.
You know, watching this, finding out about this match makes me realize about matches that I didn't know I wanted to see. That I know I kind of wanted to see, you know, in retrospect, you know, if it's out there, I want to see Chris Jericho versus Shane Douglas 1-on-1, you know, for an hour. You know, I think those two could probably work some magic, and I don't know.
I think those were 2 different sized ships crossing 2 very different oceans at the time.
Yeah, ships in the night.
I think that was a very tiny skipper crossing a river, while Shane Douglas was in a big old boat crossing that big ocean.
And you know, and Chris was just on the come up. He was so young.
He was El Corazon de Leon at the time.
How old was Chris Jericho when he debuted in WWE? Was he 27 or 26?
I have no idea.
He wasn't 30 yet. I know he wasn't.
No, he was still young. He was still like late 20s. I think. Yeah, you're probably right, like around 27, 28.
Yeah, he had to be like 27 or 28. So like
probably around there.
His ECW days must have been like his mid to early 20s.
Or teens even. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the early 20s, like 20, 21, probably.
Because he was in FML for a long time with a mask.
Yeah,
CMLL. He had a mask. Yeah.
And Smoky Mountain, he was also like really young.
Yeah.
Back then. Like I watch his old matches in Canada against Don Callis, you know.
That's why you're Don Callis, because he was talking about pains and everything else. I'm bringing ECW. I'm putting the ideas out there that will bring ECW into immortality. You know, raising it in, you know, post-mortem for posterity. You know, for those who love ECW, I think, you know, I'd love just an endless exhibit of ECW paintings. You know, I'll pay big money to help make it happen. If I was a philanthropist, I'd put $500,000 for an ECW exhibit. So. Oh, wow. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our top 5 picks of the week here.
Woo!
There you go.
Mwah. Mwah. God, man. Mwah. I feel it. I feel this painting in my heart right here.
That's a good one. I like that. I would pay at least $15 for that.
Yeah, $15, little man. Put that shit
in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, My jungle love. Oh, I think I wanna know ya. Sorry, I know that.
Shady said
My
Bob.
jungle love. My jungle love.
Jay Silent Bob, yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. But yes, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in here for our top 5 picks of the week. As the next one will be our top 5 best high-flying finishers. See who has the best high-flying finishing moves. So stay tuned for that one. And then from there, we'll have upcoming ones that will shock you guys. Stay tuned, because the Lucha Underground one is coming. And
Oh yeah.
and that's one that the director's going to help you with that one for sure. Because that one, we're going to do top 5 best Lucha Underground moments.
Moments. Oh, that's very nice. I like that a lot. Let's do it.
Moments. We're going to do that for sure. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, to all of our audio platform listeners as well, thank you so much for listening and for watching. Do not forget, at the end of the video, hit that subscribe button, notification, hit the like, hit the bell, get your bang. Don't forget also to follow Page Destroyed as well.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
And don't forget also buy your merchandise, Suplexology, besides the Circle to Make merchandise. That's right, you see. I'm not, it's all of us here that we're doing, not just only this podcasting. Well, to end it here, what do we do, Mike?
We don't just make podcasts, we make history.